Welcome to the Woodworkers video on how to install rebated door hardware. Woodworkers uniquely have our own branded hardware kits which are more economical to buy than the individual components themselves, and by doing this you have the peace of mind of knowing everything you need for the job is in one box. The kits come in silver, gold and black and are available for most situations, from entry, bifold, sliding and French doors, as well as all styles of windows. Today we're going to show how to install a French door kit. The kit includes 2 flush bolts, a lockable flush bolt, a non-lockable flush bolt, the strike plates that go with it, 2 cabin hooks, the handles, the lock body, the strike plates and the lock cylinder, which includes the unique Woodworkers snub key. The snub key is a Woodworkers innovation and a highly desirable feature, as it can stay in the lock and provide easy access when you're home during the day, but can easily be removed to leave the lock functioning as a deadlock when you're absent. This means if the burglar has entered your home somehow, he can't leave through the front door without using the key, and this meets the insurance requirements. Our snub key solution is unique to Woodworkers. If you purchase the door and the hardware from Woodworkers, then for an additional cost we can actually factory machine the slot in the edge of the door for the mortise lock, and we can do the slot in the door for the flush bolts. We don't do the holes in the side of the door, which is done on site by your installer. So when the doors come from the factory, if you've paid the additional cost for the mortise cutout and the flush bolt routes, this is what you get. When we did the preparation in the factory, we put the hole in the edge of the door, but we don't put it in the face. This is done on site by your installer, and he lines the holes up with your lock body. If you've requested the flush bolt route, this is what you will get on site. Before you fit the lock body, you need to seal inside the lock preparation to make sure that there's no raw timber exposed. We seal this with a product called Sickens, which is what we recommend for the rest of the door. Okay, so we're ready to start to actually fit the lock now. So we have the rebate face kit here. There's a left and there's a right hand, so we need to determine which side we need. George is now trying the lock to make sure it actually fits into the hole. He's going to have a look at the latch. He'll see that the latch is actually the wrong direction for this set of doors. He'll turn it around and then fit the face. Now we need to determine the back set of the lock. We measure from the edge of the faceplate to the centre of the lock cylinder, and we see that that's 60mm.
Set your square at 60. Transfer a line with pencil down the face of the stile.
When you transfer the line, that you actually go to the outer edge of the door and not the inner edge of the rebate. If you go to the inner edge of the rebate, your holes will actually be too far in and your lock won't work. So what George is doing here now, he's lined the top of the lock with the top of the preparation. He's marking the centre of the holes for the handle and for the lock cylinder. So you're marking the centre of this hole here, which is where the lever handle goes, and the centre of the top, as well as mark around everywhere where the lock cylinder will go. Okay, so we have the marks on the door now that we've previously marked out. What's going to happen is George is going to now drill the hole through the door. He's got to make sure that the drill is perfectly level. So he's drilled until the tip of the drill goes through to the other side, and then he'll drill from the other side. So once we've done the cutout, we need to clean the debris out from the hole so we can get the lock fitting nice and snugly. The faceplate has to come off the lock body in order to fit the cylinder and the retaining screw. So you put the screw in here, tightens up on the cylinder and won't move. And once we've done that, we now fit the faceplate back on. Now we've fitted the faceplate, what George has done is put the spindle through the door, and you need to make sure that the door's the right thickness for the spindle, but if you've got a 40mm door with the woodworker's kit, the spindle will be the right size. So the spindle's now through the door, we've got the handle on the inside, we need to put the plate on the outside. George is going to mark the top and bottom where the connecting rods will go through the door. So what we've got to do now is make sure that we've got the correct length on the screw for the thickness of the door. So you can see there's points here where the screw will actually snap off quite easily. You're going to go from the face of the plate on one side to just inside the face of the plate on the other side. The tube screw on the other side lines up with the thread. You twist them together and tightens up the lock. So now we have to fit the flush bolts. They've already been routed out in the factory, so it should slip into place. When installing the flush bolts, you always need to put the lockable flush bolt to the top. The reason for that is once the door's locked, if you've got strong winds and they're pushing on the door and you get a little rattle there, they won't fall down because the actual bolt itself is locked. What George is doing now is just hammering on the top of the bolt. What that will do is transfer the bolt mark to where the strike plate needs to be on the sill, and he'll do the same on the head. Each flush bolt comes with two different strike plates. There's a narrow strike plate and a wider strike plate. You can use either one. In this scenario it could go there, but because we've got a fixing hole here, we'd use a larger plate and that will hide the fixing hole. We score the Stanley knife around the plate to mark out where we need to chisel in so the plate sits flush with the timber. So what George is doing now, he's chiseling out to the depth of the strike plate, so the strike plate will eventually fit flush with the bottom of the sill. We've fitted the strike plate so it's nice and flush with the sill, and we've drilled down inside the hole here so the flush bolt itself can actually go down and lock. Okay, we've fitted the flush bolt, so now all we need to do is test it to make sure it works. Perfect fit. Now he's making sure that the edge of the strike plate is on the edge of the indentation on the timber, which he placed in there earlier on. And now he's scribing around the plate so he can house out for the plate. Okay, so we fitted the top lockable flush bolt. Now we'll give it a go to see if it fits. We'll slide it up, turn the key. There you go, lockable flush bolt installed. What we need to do now is fit the strike plate on the inactive door. If we put the strike plate on top of the lock, they're both exactly the same size. We close the door. We put a mark at the top of the strike plate and at the bottom of the strike plate. We also mark at the top of the latch, the bottom of the latch, top of the bolt and bottom of the bolt. These lines are then transferred along the edge of the door so we know exactly where to drill. We need to get the inside of the strike plate here to line up with the side of the rebate. So basically we need to know the distance from here to here, mark that on the door all the way down, and then we need to rebate this out, take it out with a chisel. So what George is doing now is scribing across the pencil line on the top and the bottom. He's scribed with his knife along the pencil line vertically. He's drilled out along the edges of the strike plate, so that will make it a lot easier for him when he does the chiseling out to square everything up. So George has taken the strike plate off, and now he's chiseling out the area which is pre-drilled So there you go, we've fitted the flush bolt and we've fitted the lock. Close the door, turn the key, end of story. Thank you for watching the video.